Record. All right. So now this session, I'll be focusing more on, I want to focus more on the storyline for this session. Storyline and like the directional bias for this particular session. That's what I'm going to be talking about. I won't be going into entries. I'll focus more on storylines. Now, what is a storyline? A storyline can be said to be the temporal direction of the market, right? The temporal direction of the market. I don't really have an actual definition for the storyline.
మరి క్లాస్ పెట్టారా స్టోరీ లైన్ చెప్తా అన్నాడు.
Please mute yourself, bro. Please mute yourself. Okay, I don't really have an actual definition for a storyline, but I can explain what a storyline is. A storyline is just like the temporal direction of the market. Like if the market is in a bearish storyline, it says that, okay, there are going to be sells for now till it changes. Now, how does a storyline start and how does a storyline ends, right? The storyline starts like this. Sorry. Okay. The storyline starts like this. Let's say this is a demarcation of the chart. The storyline starts like this. Let's say if this is a support, I'll be using a V formation for a support, right? Let's say this is a daily support. 1D, this is a daily support. If price comes here, touches this daily support, and then rejects and closes above the daily support. Because for your storyline, you need something, you need what? A rejection and a breakout, right? These two things must be on different time frame. Whichever time frame you have your rejection on, you want your breakout to be one time frame below that time frame. So if it's you have your rejection on the daily, you want your breakout on 4 hour. So this would confirm the daily storyline. If you have your rejection on the weekly, you want your breakout on what? Daily. This would confirm the weekly storyline. I don't look at monthly storyline because I don't see any need to, because the monthly doesn't have much data on that. So I don't really look at that, right? I focus my time more on the daily and the weekly. Weekly more of the weekly. Okay. So you need a rejection and a breakout. So now this one here, we now have our rejection. The daily rejects the daily support. Now, what's the next thing you need to look for before you trade? The next thing you need to look for after the daily has rejected the daily support is what? What's the next thing you need to look for? A breakout, one time frame below. Now, let's say while price was coming to this daily support on the 4-hour time frame, we start having something like this. So what you want on the 4-hour time frame is what? For price to break the last traditional resistance, since this is a bullish storyline formation, last traditional resistance that was formed on the 4-hour before price tapped this. Like when I say last traditional resistance, I mean the resistance like by a bullish candle followed by a bearish candle, right? The last one, price has to what? Break with the body closing above. Once price does that, right? This is a bullish candle, this is a bearish candle, right? Then price breaks up with another bullish candle, right? Once price does that, it has started what? A bullish storyline. Now, how does a storyline end? A storyline ends the same way it starts, which means for a storyline to end, a new one must start. For a bullish storyline to end, the bearish one must start. Until the bearish one starts, the storyline hasn't ended. Now, this is a misconception most people would have. Like, let's say price gave you this, right? And then you have your rejection. Then you have your rejection. And then on the 4-hour time frame, your chart looks like this. On the 4-hour time frame, your chart looks like this. This is the line where the storyline started from. And then this was where the storyline started. On the 4-hour time frame, your chart looks like this, right? Many people have the misconception that the moment price goes below this low, storyline has turned bearish because they feel like, okay, because the storyline turned bullish here, it's turned bullish, right? It should buy within all the levels here. Now, if it doesn't buy within all the levels here and this low that started the storyline, gets taken out, then the storyline automatically changes. No, that's not true. If there was no bearish daily, VJ daily, and then a breakout, then there's no storyline change. The storyline is still bullish. Now, why would price want to take out the low that created the storyline if it's still bullish? The answer is liquidity. Right? The answer is liquidity. The answer is liquidity. If price starts a bullish storyline, but there's still more liquidity, let's say there was still a liquidity resting here, and then price already started a bullish storyline from here, and they start selling without turning bearish, it starts selling. Where you should look to buy is not, don't buy here, just buy here. And because the storyline already turned bullish here, the storyline is still bullish technically because for a storyline to end, another one must start. So until the bearish one starts, the bullish one is still holding, especially in cases where you are putting two storylines together, the weekly and the daily. In the case where the weekly is bullish, right? Weekly is bullish, then the daily was bearish, but then it turns bullish right here. And then price takes out this low because there's more liquidity there, right? This, even if you want to respect the daily storyline, respect the weekly. The weekly is still bullish. That is why I would say storyline is not just enough. Another thing is when let me erase all this. Okay. Another thing is where they'll tell you this is the resistance, right? Let's assume this is a resistance, right? Where they'll tell you daily reject daily, new 4-hour support you can buy. I mean new 4-hour resistance. Let's say daily reject daily. Then on the 4-hour time frame, you see that this daily reject daily created what new 4-hour resistance. And then someone would say buy here. Same way, if there's still more liquidity resting above, this would fail. Price won't hold. Storyline is only used. I only use storyline after I understand my entire market structure, right? Price took all the liquidity I need price to take, and then the storyline starts. That's when it gets respected the most. If the liquidities and structure doesn't align, right, and the storyline starts, most times it's a trap. That's what most people do not know, and then they make mistakes in their directional bias. Now let's just go to the chart so we can just make some chart examples for you guys to see how it's actually done. Because people use storyline wrongly. You just mark daily reject daily and you're buying on selling from every daily reject daily. That's not how storylines are used. I had to find this out on my own after multiple failures. I had to find it out on my own that, oh, storylines aren't used like this. Let's one of the very good examples of this explanation is here. I think I'll go on a fresh chart. Let me go on a fresh chart. Which chart is the best? Let's see. Let me go on a fresh chart so I can explain better. Okay. Let me look at the daily time frame. Okay, so now this is the daily time frame, right? Let me mark this out. This is the support right here, right? This is the support right here, right? This is the support. This is a daily support. I would send out the recording for everyone. Nobody should try to. I will send it out myself, please. So this is a daily support, right? The daily open close support sitting right here. Now, this daily open close support seated right here. What was the daily storyline before we tapped on this support? The storyline before we tapped on this support was a bearish storyline. And where did we start our bearish storyline from? We started being bearish from here. Of course, we all know types of resistance and supports, like, right? We all know types of supports and resistance. I'm sure we all know that. We all know types of supports and resistance. So you know that this is a buy bullish support that got broken and became what? A resistance, right? So we all know this. So let's go to so you can see the first time price tapped this level here. We had a daily reject daily. Price tapped it, rejected, and closed below the resistance. So let's go down to a lower time frame. I'd love to teach how to correlate storylines on different time frames, but I don't think there's enough time to do that. I don't think there's enough time to do that. Okay, so this is it. This is it. So this is on the 4-hour time frame. If you are the kind of person that will say daily reject daily, right? The new support, the new resistance, daily rejected the daily, and then this new resistance, you can see how price held a bit from there and then went inside right again. Now, why price is going inside right again? Why is it going inside right again? Because we have this here, this here, a liquidity, and we have this level. Just use the horizontal line. We have this support break resistance inside of here. Now, till price taps this level and clear out all the liquidity, tap this level, it's not ready to sell. So let's assume that price started a bearish storyline from here, from this rejection, started a bearish storyline without getting here. Would I jump on that bearish storyline? No. But the moment price run the high that starts the storyline, right? The origin of the storyline gets run, right? Some people might assume that the storyline has ended. No, it hasn't. As far as a bullish one didn't start, it hasn't ended. So now that's just your cue to say, okay, the daily is bearish, and then in more confluence to sell, right? Because what the storyline is already bearish even before price got to your zone. So it's more confluence for you to take your sell. Oh, but in this case, the storyline didn't start because there was no breakout, just a rejection. Storyline didn't start, right? Then price got here. One more thing I would like to tell you guys is a daily zone, right? A daily zone you want to see a storyline start from. It's fresh until a storyline starts from it. Like price can tap that zone multiple times. Like if this is daily level, price can tap here, tap again, and tap again until the storyline gets started, right? And each tap is independent in the sense that, how do I explain this? If price taps this daily support here, right, and fails to break the last traditional resistance before it taps, that was created before it taps, if price taps it and fails to break that to confirm the storyline started, and then the next day price taps it again, it's fresh. Since the storyline haven't started, it's still fresh. If price taps it again now, the level price has to break for the storyline to start is not the last traditional resistance that was created before the first tap, but the last one created before the new tap. I don't know if I'm making sense. I don't know if I'm making sense. Like, let me give you a very good example with where we are on now. Let me give you a very good example that we are on now. Let's go to the daily. Okay. Now you see this daily level right here. Price taps it the first time with this one. Price taps with this one, this candle right here, the white candle, price taps. After tapping with the white candle, and we failed, when price tap this white candle now, for the storyline to start, let me show you something. Okay, 4 hours. After tapping with the white candle, the bullish candle, and rejecting, for the storyline to start, price has to break here. Price has to break here. This last support created before price taps this level on the 4 hour, price has to break it. Has to what? Be broken with a body closing. Now, since price failed to break that, confirming the storyline, which means no storyline was started, right? This level is still a fresh level to start the storyline. Now, price taps the second time. Let's go back on daily. Okay, price taps the second time using this candle now. Taps the second time, right? 4 hours. Now, after the second tap, right, the level price has to break for the storyline to start has changed from here to here, because this one is the last support before price taps the zone, right? That's why I said they're independent in the sense that not because price taps the first time and failed to break here, then the next time it taps, you'd wait for it to break this zone for you to confirm it to storyline start. No. If even if this zone didn't make a higher high, let me show you and a different example. If this is the resistance, the first, and then this is the 4 hour view, price does something like this, then tap the first time. The first time was supposed to break here to confirm a storyline, and it didn't. Price that does something like this, comes down, and then it fails to break here, starts going back up. And then taps the zone again, but then breaks this one. This one confirms the storyline start. Since this is the last support before price taps it again, it is not necessary that it takes out this high and then breaks. No, just the last support created before price taps again. And even if the zone has been tapped before, but price didn't start a storyline, it's fresh to still start a new storyline. But then don't expect that, okay, because price should have broken here. If it was this tap, the first one here, price should have broken this zone to confirm the storyline. Then you wait. When price taps the second time with a new support, you wait for price to break. No, price has to break the most recent support formed before the tap. And since the zone was still fresh, the second tap is your tap, right? The second tap and rejection is the one you use. The level price created before tapping and rejecting is the one you use for your break. I don't know if I'm confusing you or you guys are understanding it. Right? So that's it for the storyline. So now once price has finally tapped my main level and taken all liquidities and then starts the storyline. Now I know why the storyline is starting. Now, had it been that price didn't get here, but this leg started the storyline by breaking here, I won't sell. I'll still wait for price to take out this one to come here before I sell. Now, this storyline would be a trap for most people, it would be a trap. And let me give you a perfect example of a place where it happened, where price started a good storyline, but after starting the storyline, they didn't hold because, okay, now this is our daily support we marked from the daily. Let's go back on daily. I don't know if you guys are flowing with me. This is our daily support we marked on the daily, right? The price was previously bearish after starting a bearish storyline from here, sorry, from here, and later starting another bearish storyline from this new resistance as well. So price is full-fledged bearish storyline, the daily. Now price sells into this daily support. Now we're in daily support now. What do you expect next from price after tapping into our daily support? We expect for price to what? Give us our daily reject daily and the 4-hour breakout. So on the 4-hour, we have our daily reject daily, right? Now let's see if price is giving us our 4-hour breakout. Where is our breakout going to be? This is our daily level. This is where price. Now this is the last what? Buy, sell. The last traditional resistance created before price taps our zone, which is this one. And price what? Broke with a body close, confirming the storyline has changed to bullish storyline, bearish storyline to bullish storyline. Now, the storyline is now a bullish storyline, right? Then price went all the way up, taps this next level, with which we did what? A daily reject daily, daily reject daily, right? You can see daily reject this daily, and then 4 hours. The 4 hours gave us this break, which would confirm what your bearish storyline started. Now, for the bearish one to start, the bullish one has to end. Now, where do we have our bullish one? Daily. Now, look at this daily support. Now, this is a very good example of what I want to explain to you of the storyline traps if you don't understand liquidity. Now, look at the daily support. This first daily support, you can see price taps the first time, daily reject the daily. Now, let's check if we have a 4-hour breakout. Daily reject the daily, and of course, this was the first tap. This area, I think I need a vertical line to delineate to separate it so you can see. Okay, let me go to the daily. Okay, so I'll put my vertical line on this candle, the rejection candle, the one that rejected the daily support. Let me change the color to red so it's different so you guys can see. Now this is my vertical line, right? The first rejection. So that's where you know where the storyline started from. So right after price taps, you can see the vertical line taps. Now this is the last buy sell resistance that was created before price taps our zone, and price broke this last buy sell resistance, right? Confirming a bullish storyline. Now, after confirming this bullish storyline, now this is the trap I was talking about. Most people would say storyline is bullish. Can I just take out this line so I can see? Okay. Most people will say, okay, the storyline is bullish. Let's take buys from here or wherever. Let's take here, or you don't no, just keep buying. Like they just keep taking buys off of different areas. And then when price finally takes out the low that started the storyline, which is this one, the low that taps the support. because price takes out the low that taps the support. Many people would wonder if the storyline is still bullish since after our daily reject daily and our breakout, price still took out this low. Are we still bullish or should we start looking for sales? Right? Many people would wonder about this. Now, the reason price is taking out this low is because we still have liquidities to be taken out that we are not taking. Because we had a downtrend from here. For people who know how we take entries and liquidity and market structure from the previous class, we had a downtrend from here. Then we had a shift in structure from there. So price shifts in structure. And this is our shift. Then what happens next? Then what happens next? After our shift, this is our liquidity inducement. I think this example would clarify everything for you to understand. Now, price started this storyline before the inducement was taken out. Can you understand? Price started a bullish storyline before the inducement was taken out. Now, this liquidity being here shows that price still needs to come down. And because price has started this bullish storyline from here, most people would be buying early, thinking the storyline is bullish. Daily reject daily, 4-hour breakout, we can buy, right? But no, that's not how storyline works. You will use storyline as a direction confluence for the overall market structure. Now, daily reject daily, 4-hour breakout, right? But then this liquidity still remains here. Do you buy with this liquidity here? Of course not, because right on the 45-minute time frame, we had a zone that was beneath our liquidity, and our zone is this one, right? You can see. This is like the resistance break becomes support. So now you had your liquidity, your, your liquidity, your zone, and then price is starting a bullish storyline here. Of course, you know that we are still going to need more sales, and this bullish storyline is just invalid. I'll call it an invalid storyline. Doesn't mean that price taking out this low automatically turned the storyline from bullish to bearish. No. It means once I start buying from here, once I take a buy from here, I will still tell you daily is bullish, and that's part of my direction confluence to buy from here, right? Because the storyline never changed. After price formed that started the bullish storyline, it never changed. The price just took out the low, but it never changed. But it never did um a daily reject daily resistance on a 4-hour breakout. If you check properly, it never did. Yeah, after price took out this level, we never changed the storyline. Or I think it even changed the storyline because from there you can see price created a resistance which was later rejected on a daily reject daily. So you can see this resistance was rejected, and then was price still turned bearish storyline yet again. It was rejected, and then there was a breakout from there. Because why? Because the bullish storyline was invalid. That's how you know storylines that are invalid and when the storyline is valid and when it's not valid. Understand the overall structure, because when I was trading in this part of the market, when price was around here, I took the sell from here. And why did I take the sell from here? It was quite simple. Let me show you. Why did I take the fight? Why did I take the sell from there? I took the sell from there because if you look at the daily time frame, there was a daily, reject daily. Okay, if you look at the daily time frame, there was a daily reject daily support from here. Now we have a bullish storyline started, right? For a bullish storyline to end, what do we need? We need a resistance. Now, how will I know my resistance I want to sell from? Like I said in the previous session we had, that you don't just choose your levels randomly. You choose your daily level based on the market structure and liquidity on the lower time frame. So now, will I choose this level here? Will I choose this level here, this open close, to end my storyline? No. It doesn't have the potential to do that. Why did I say it doesn't have the potential to do that? If you watch the previous class, right, whether you attended or you watched, right, you remember when I spoke about this level here. Remember when I spoke about price giving me an uptrend from here, low, high, higher, low, and blah, 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 all the way up there. And then when price was coming back down, we had a break of structure of this low and as well as what? This low. Now, after this break of structure, right? Now, this is how you combine both storyline and market structure, everything together to get your trade. Now, I knew that the storyline was bullish already from here. The storyline was bullish from here. But why do I want to take a sell? Because I'm taking a sell in anticipation that the storyline will turn bearish. Why do I want the storyline to turn bearish? Because we have levels to clear out, some liquidities to clear out that have been built up around here. And then why is this my best sell-off level? Because of the market structure and liquidity around it. So this is it, right? This liquidity, then this one here being my inducement. Now, if this is my inducement, why will I want to sell from a daily level that is below my inducement? As you can see. So now my inducement is somewhere here. So why would I want to sell from a daily that's here? Of course, this daily doesn't count to me. It doesn't count to me. So I will just look above that inducement. And above my inducement, we have this daily, which is also aligning with what my 2 hour resistance break support break become resistance was also there. A 2 hour resistance, which is a support. This support break become resistance around there. So that would be what? Your sell zone inside the daily. So now when you are selling from here now, you are anticipating that what? This daily level you are selling from can start a bearish storyline. And why are we starting a bearish storyline? Let me show you. Now this is how you know your directional bias, and this is why you will not be caught up on the wrong direction. Of course, you can make mistake. That's normal. Yeah, because we have this whole trend, this whole bullish compression that has been here. Price has been compressing upward slowly, and which is what? A liquidity price has been building. So you want to see price what? Run that liquidity out, right? So you mark it out. You can see how price bounced off this trend once, twice, third time. Price bouncing off this trend 3 times is enough signal to tell you that what? Enough liquidity has been built below this trend. So when you are selling from here, if you are selling from here, now you are holding yourself in anticipation that what? A bearish storyline will start. And why are you expecting a bearish storyline to start? Because not just expecting it blindly. You are expecting a bearish storyline to start to clear out all these liquidities being built from here, right? You want to see the bearish storyline clear out all these liquidities. And why did you choose here as your level? Why did you choose this daily as your level? Because what? You have what? The break, the liquidity, and the zone. So you sell from there, anticipating price takes out all these ones. Now, when price starts the bearish storyline from there, finally, it becomes what? A confluence for that direction. Price, the daily being rejected and breaking becomes what? The confluence. So you don't just use the storyline blindly and then you just mark a zone and you expect any zone to do a daily reject daily and new 4 hour support you are buying and whatever. No. So now, since you have all of these as liquidities to run to fulfill the goal of this bearish storyline, when price tried to turn bullish from here, when price tried to turn bullish from here, you won't buy. Instead, you wait for price what to either manipulate the storyline or switch back to a bearish storyline. In this case, price switched back into a bearish storyline till all liquidities were out. Then what? And like I said, until the storyline starts from the zone, it's fresh, right? All liquidities were out. Then what? Price started buying. We got our buys. Let me show you. Okay. Okay. So any daily storyline, I mean any daily support that is around here, any daily support around here, that's around what here or here or all these lows, any daily support that's around all these areas, you won't expect them to make any storyline. You expect them to maybe reject or retrace price, but not create any strong move or any strong impact on price because what you still have liquidities to run. So until your liquidities have been run, then you can now say, all right, let me look for my buys. Then you mark your zone out, which is here. With other confluences like thoughts in the first session, you mark your zone out, your session timing, your trend line and whatever, you mark your zone out, and what you take your buys. Same with this previous sell move down here. When I'm taking this sell, when the storyline turns bearish, like when I'm selling from here, when you sell from here, right, and the storyline concurs with your analysis and turns bearish, what you want to see from price is what? All of these liquidities go out. When you take your second entry, I had explained all of this in the first class I held with you guys. When you take your first entry from here, your second entry would be from here. Why would your second entry be from here? Because you had your break of structure, your liquidity, and your entry, your open close, just above your liquidity. That's your entry. Now, if you're selling from here, you're taking your second entry from here, right? Taking your second entry from here. What's your target? You're targeting all of these liquidities. All of these liquidities, this trend line, that price bounced off more than 3 times. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, that's your target. Sell off and target the whole liquidity below this trend line. So now, if this is your target, right, would you expect a right? So like I said, right, if your target is to take out all these liquidities sitting below this line, right, would you want to buy from supports, or would you respect storylines formed from supports like here, from bullish supports like here, from bullish supports like here, or even the left shoulder or wherever? Would you respect the storylines formed from there? Of course not, because you have all these liquidities that were all the way to this point that you want to see price take out. So of course you would not want to look for buys. Everything before that liquidity is out would either get freeway broken or price would just react and break later on. use it to pull back. So until then, anytime price pulls back up, what? Oh, so what do? You sell. Anytime price pulls back up, you sell. That's just how you get your directional bias. Then if the storyline happens to be on the same page as you, or the storyline was previously on that page, then yeah, you just what ride it. But don't confuse both of them. If you do the traditional, because if you're the kind of person that just trades, daily, reject daily, whatever, you would take so many losses that you would hate yourself. Because if price turns bearish from here, and you try to end the storyline by looking for sells from maybe the support break the resistance break becomes support, or you look for sells from here, or you look for, buys from here, or you try to anticipate buys from all these levels, you would get stopped out multiple times over and over and over again. And in some cases, you will wait for the storyline to start and you will try to trade in that storyline, not knowing that the storyline was just a trap. If you don't understand market structure and liquidity infused into your storyline, if you don't know how to compare and use both of them, you will only get stopped out multiple times across different trades. And that's one of the reasons why I always say using just the typical storyline just like that doesn't really work the way people, think does. It doesn't work like that because you will take so many losses that you would literally not like yourself. Because like imagine being so confident that, oh, the storyline is bullish, let me buy, only for price to wipe out the low that started the storyline, and you bought multiple times. I used to do that if price turns bullish. Like this, the 4 hour price breaks the last resistance and turns bullish after a daily reject daily. I'll feel like this low here is immune. So if price starts coming, mostly when I first started, I didn't really know much. So if once price starts coming, I try to buy here, I get stopped out. I try to buy here, I get stopped out. I try to buy here, I get stopped out. I'll feel like, okay, maybe this time around here is going to be the main place. Since the storyline is bullish, maybe price is going to go from the extreme. Since that's the last level, I'll buy here, take a big risk with a stop loss here, and get it out again. Then once price takes you out, you start trying, okay, let me sell. Boom. Not knowing that price already tapped what the main buy point. And as you sell, price starts hitting you out. Price starts hitting you out. Maybe even this sell down might have even started a bearish storyline. And you start selling, price hits you out multiple times. And you wonder why. Only for you to check 2 days later and there's a full-fledged bullish storyline. Price is buying and you don't know why. You feel me? That's why I always tell people the typical storyline doesn't really work like that. The way people think it does. It doesn't work like that. That's why I infused market structure and liquidity into my own concept. Then if the storyline is aligning with the market structure, it's a whole, like it's going to be so many momentum, that there will be so much momentum, and price would move with so much force, right? But if storyline and my if my storyline and my market structure are on opposite sides, I can trade. I can take a trade based off the market structure in anticipation that the storyline starts. You understand? Anticipating that the storyline starts. Target for sell. Which sell? Which one? Which particular sell are you talking about? Particular sell. Which sell are you talking about?
Currently, price is getting sell, no? That's why I'm asking.
The current sell?
Your currently price having selling.
Oh,
The price
I'm not.
can till.
I'm not. I'm not trading. I'm not trading.
Okay, okay, okay,
I'm
okay,
not
okay.
looking at current. I'm
Oh,
just explaining things to you based on price,
okay, fine,
price action.
fine, fine. Okay, fine.
All right, please, can you mute yourself?
Yeah.
Okay. So now you understand why. Now you understand why things works the way they work. So you understand when you are selling, and this is your liquidity, this is your target liquidity, you sell all the way till price gets here. Once price gets there, then what? Now your liquidity is out and price is now starting a bullish storyline. Of course, you know that price is going to hold. Then what? You see the setup, again, the break of structure and this liquidity inducement and this level. When you sell from here, what happens? Like I said, whenever price pulls back, you buy. I mean, you sell, sorry. So what happens now? This is your ultimate target, this level. This is your whole liquidity, and this level is your target, and this is your target, right? For price to take out this level, that's what you're targeting. And if that's where you're targeting for price to take out that level, then at this point, the level is not out. Why should you buy? You shouldn't be buying. You should be looking for sales. So what should you do? You look for the setup over and over again. That's just all you do. Okay? And then your liquidity inducement right here, liquidity or whatever you call it, right here. And then your zone, this one closest to liquidity. And what do you do again? Your resistance, I mean your support break become resistance. I always mix the RBS and SBR together. So of course you will know what I mean when I say anything I say. So when you sell from here again, what's your target? You take your second entry. What's your target? Still put your target down here. Now, any buy move, buy setup, buy whatever that's been formed before price takes this out is just what? It's just a trap. Don't buy. Keep looking for sales until your target is out. That's how you trade. Now this is now you have a bearish bias. Of course, there will be temporary buys like this one and whatever, but the main bias is to what? Is to sell, of course. There'll be temporary buys, and that's just how you have your bias. You just have to keep looking for the setup and you keep selling until until your target liquidity goes out. Then what do you do next? You look for, just like here, price breaks here. And after your break, you just keep looking for the setup every time and keep selling. That's how you have your direction. Then you can always use the higher time frame storyline to correlate your direction. And if your direction is opposing the higher time frame storyline, what should you know? I'm countering the higher time frame. There's something they call counter trades, right? Yeah, in terms of like storyline wise, I'll be countering the storyline. And what you take for your entry from here, and this is how simple, because why? This one is closest to your liquidity. You enter from there. You see how when price came here and didn't tap the level, price goes back again, and this became even more liquidity for your zone. Finally, price taps your open close zone. And when you sell, where do you keep your target? Same place, same place. You keep your target because the level is still not out, right? Now, why most people are busy buying because a bullish storyline was formed from here. You are selling, you are opposing the storyline, and even your sell is kind of, if you look at the daily, you notice that what your sell is kind of inside what this daily resistance, this buy sell inside the daily resistance. There's your sell, and you're what anticipating that the bullish storyline that formed here turns back to a bearish storyline till your liquidity is out, and you can take that sell in anticipation of the storyline and you sell again all the way till price takes out your zone. And now it's out. You can add other confluences you would like to add, like the trend lines and the sessions. Let's see the sessions. Okay. This one is Asia. This one is also Asia setup. That's why I said there's nothing like London is the best. No, I just want to see my setup form during a session. That's all. I don't know. I don't care about the session forms, just forms during a session, because most good entries happens during the session. So that's all I know. Now, once once price price sells all the way down, right, and finally takes out our liquidity, then we get what? A shift in structure. This shift in structure from here, or maybe I put the 15-minute time frame so I can mark properly. Now our liquidity is finally out and price is shifting. And now we are shifting in structure. Finally, liquidity is out and we shift, downtrend, breaks, turn uptrend. We're expecting reversals right now, and this is what liquidity. Usement, is what liquidity. You get your entry could be here, right? If you're going to pick this as what your liquidity. But I said something in the last time I was on a live stream that there are so many different types of liquidities. And if you are very experienced, you'll know the one to pick. It's not always the one after the break the structure. It's not always that. If you're very experienced, you know, like the entry I took somewhere around here. Where is that entry? Let's scroll all the way. Yeah, okay. Like the entry I took somewhere. Was it here? Or where was that? Okay, somewhere here. This entry. Let's go to 5 minutes. Okay. Like I said something, right? You have to understand liquidity properly to pick your zones properly. Like I said something, this was the breakout structure I used for this setup, and I marked this liquidity. Now, this is not the first pullback after my breakout structure, right? Yeah, but there are so many types of liquidities, and with experience, you'll be able to know the proper ones to mark. I mark this liquidity and mark this as my entry. And if you go right here, let me know if I can find that. Okay. Okay. God, so tired right now. I just have to do this session. Okay. If you go right here, you could see the markup right here, where this was my liquidity. And my entry was right there. And this was the trade later on. This was it later on. Yeah. So it's not always just the first pullback, but I don't want to go too in depth of that. And that's like the same thing here as well. If you know what to pick. So if you know what to pick, if you understand liquidity properly, of course, you know the best zone to pick. There are so many types of liquidities, but the most common is the first pullback after your break of structure. Just take it like that. So if I was looking at this, right, even if we had this, I'll still look at to pick this. That's my liquidity, right? And if this is liquidity, this would be the entry point. This open close would be like my entry. Yeah. This would be liquidity. This will be your entry after your shift, and then you buy. And then there is your now what time for buy. This time for buy. Have like 60 pip stop loss. Now, where do you target? Same way you targeted the whole liquidity build up during the sell. Right? Target the same thing for the buys. The buys. Target same thing for the buys. Target liquidity build up for the buys too, and target here. Now, until price gets here, takes out your high, you keep what? keep on buying, keep on buying, keep on buying. Pull back, you buy. Pulls back, you buy. And just like that, keep on buying. If it pulls back, buy. If it pulls up, buy. And just like that, buy till what? Take it level out. That's how you have directional bias. That's how you get your bias. And you know, okay, if I'm buying or if I'm selling today, that's how you know. That's how you know if I'm buying or if I'm selling today. And you collaborate that with storylines, and that's all. I took an entry from here, took the buys all the way up. And that is how you would understand the directional bias properly. You know which liquidity price wants to clear, what's the trend, what's the structure, where is the liquidity for your entry. And once you know all of this, you use the storyline to your advantage as well. You don't just get up and be like, oh, the storyline is bullish, let me buy. No, that's not how it works. The storyline can typically turn bullish because you have your SOP, the daily reject daily, and then you have your breakout. Then what next? You think it's bullish and price will still hit your stop loss. That's not how it works. That's not how it works. Anybody with a question? Anyone with a question? Anyone? If you have a question, you can unmute yourself and ask. Because even recently, I was on looking at gold and US 30. I wanted to buy on gold on US 30. I wanted to take buys on both pairs, but I haven't funded my account by the time. Yeah. I would say they're bullish on gold. Gold is bullish. Now, why is gold bullish? Let me think. Why is gold bullish? Let me give you the 4 hours view first before we look at the higher time frame. Okay. Why is gold bullish? Gold is bullish because oh, hmm, most of the sales coming on gold was targeted at what clearing out some of these liquidities built up from here. Now, all these liquidities are out, right? And then price what hits this support level. Now, this support level being hit by price is also inside what a daily support, and price has done what daily reject daily, which was on Wednesday. Daily reject the daily on Wednesday, as you can see. So price reject the daily on Wednesday, and what if we get a 4-hour breakout, which we already did, breakout the last buy sell that was formed before price taps our daily. Price already broke out from there with this body, confirming a bullish storyline on gold, as well as the weekly storyline has been bullish, never turned bearish, has been bullish, and also we are also rejecting a weekly open close. So gold is on bullish, in my opinion. Right now, gold is currently bullish, and I had wanted to buy gold this morning, but I slept off and the market opened and I had not funded my account. So I woke up and it was already going well. I had the markings on my other charts. Let me see. if it's there. Gold and US 30, they are playing out well, but I didn't buy. I wanted to, but I didn't because of, okay, this is, but I marked it. I had the markings out and the US 30 is playing out well, including gold, also playing out well, right? Including gold. Now this is my markings for gold. This is why I wanted to buy gold. You know, we had a sort of a downtrend. Where's my pen? Okay. And price breaks and then liquidity and what? Your entry, right? Now, after that, when I saw gold yesterday, I was looking at gold and we were right at somewhere, I think somewhere here on gold. Let me go to 30 minutes. Gold was somewhere here. Okay, gold was somewhere here, here. And I plan to buy at market as market open. Once market opens, buy at current market price. And then my target would have been here. This would be my target if I bought. I would target for price to take out all these liquidities, build up from here like this. This would have been my target. And I wanted to buy to this point, but my account wasn't funded yet, right? My account wasn't funded yet. And I had taken a trading break for the holiday, so I had not deposited in my account for the new year. So when I woke up, price was already up somewhere here. Price was somewhere here when I woke up. I think here, somewhere here when I woke up. So I just left it. I didn't chase. I just said, okay, I'll resume on Monday. So this was my bias for gold, buy for this whole liquidity to go out. This is what I wanted to do on gold. But and on US 30, so gold is bullish in my opinion. And on US 30, I was looking for the buys because I wanted to buy US 30 because why? We had this break of structure, this pullback here, this liquidity, and then we had this open close seated right there, just beneath the liquidity. So when I saw it yesterday, I wanted to buy at correct market price this morning, but same thing when I woke up, it was already up somewhere here. So I was targeting, just buy it to the high. But I don't know. Let's see how it plays out. Got my same view for US 30. Yeah. My chart looks so messy with all the lines because I'm marking my charts these days so people can learn from my charts. Previously I used to mark less because I like cleaner charts. I mark less. So if you look at my chart, you couldn't learn from looking at my charts because there was less information. I just mark mostly just my zone and liquidity I mark. But these days I mark so much so that it's so in detail to people to learn and it looks so messy. Looks so messy, like you can see. Chart looks so messy. Yeah. So this is for XAUSD. Feel me? So we had this liquidity here. Same setup every time. Same setup every day. Same setup every time. Just look for your buys. Look for your setup. Take it. And that's all. So as you can see, we had a daily reject daily already. Daily has rejected daily. So let's see if price is going to buy. Price is not going to buy. Let's see. That's something we are going to find out. Daily reject daily 4-hour breakout already, as well as the weekly level is also there. So yeah, let's observe the um, possible buy level for gold today in New York could be here. Let me see if I can make a live analysis. Okay, let's see if we can have a live analysis on gold to end it off. Because since we are already bullish, all we want to see is what? Since we are bullish, you just want to look at what the market structure and know where you're going to buy from. You know, I don't want to make a live analysis so I don't get tempted to trade because I don't want to trade. I'll wait till Monday. So yeah, Monday I'll be back trading from Monday. Yeah. So anyone with a question on anything here? Anyone with any question about any of the stuff I've been talking about here? Anyone with a question? Anyone? Anyone with a question? Nobody? No one? If you want to talk, just unmute yourself. I don't have energy to read. Please unmute yourself and you can tell me what you want to say. I won't be able to go to the chat box to read.
Yes, thank you, Mentor. I was asking,
Okay.
when we are waiting for inducement or liquidity to be taken out when looking for an entry,
Okay.
we usually take that near SNL level, or there's another confirmation on an entry? Thank you so much.
Wait, let me get what you mean. Like if, let me say you have price doing like this and you have your break of structure and you have your liquidity to be taken out here, if there is any what do you mean? Could you rephrase yourself, please?
Yes, as when you mark your liquidity to be taken out,
Yes.
and you have an SNL level that you may be one wishing to enter from.
Okay, after you have your liquidity marked, you mark the SNR level, the fresh one that's above your liquidity. So if this is your liquidity and then maybe this level happens to be the fresh one above your liquidity, wait till price comes up and takes it and drops. Now, if you are wrong, if you happen to be wrong, it's better that you are wrong and it ends up being clear to you that, oh, I was wrong and this was a missed entry. Maybe you mark the wrong liquidity or something, you learn than to force getting into a trade from here. So, you wait for price to take out your liquidity. Once it's done, the level above your liquidity, if you're selling, sell from there. So it's all about patience. It might look easier on hindsight, but if you don't have good patience level, you won't be able to do it because you will want to rush things. Maybe you mark a liquidity and price is not coming to take it. Because sometimes price creates a liquidity and just goes like it's never going to come back, but ends up coming back. You understand? I mean,
Yes, Mentor, thank you so much.
yeah, just like here, just like if you want to take a trade here. Okay, just like here, price breaks this place, pulls back and give you your inducement. And now this is supposed to be your zone, but price drops and goes just goes off, right? Provided I still have my target in place, I'd wait for price to come back. Now price comes back, pulls back inside. Now, once price pulls back inside, what are you doing? Like, are you looking for sales from here or here? No, you're waiting for price to take out your inducement, then what you sell. So it's a patience game. No, on hindsight, it looks good, but this, from when price created your inducement to when price came back, it's almost like a full day or half day. You have to wait for like 12 hours, 8 hours for price to come there before you trade. You can leave a limit, or if you want to manual execution, you could just monitor the chart occasionally till price hits your entry, then you enter manually. So it's not always easy as people think it is. It's not always easy. You understand? That's it with that's it with gold. That's it with this. Okay. Okay. So that's it with gold. So no questions. No questions. Nobody with a question. No one. No one with a question. You're welcome. All right. If there's no question, then I guess it's time to call it a day. I'll just send out the recording later, so you guys can backtest and watch and backtest. I'll send out the recording once I'm done with the modification. Send it out so you guys can watch and backtest. Have a nice day, everyone. Have a nice day. Let me end the session.